Welcome back. All right, so just a straight out news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet. We could kind of see this coming, and it's finally happened. I think the game last night had to be what did it. The Ottawa Senators have been shut down temporarily. We're going to see their 3 games postponed against the Devils, the Predators, and the Rangers. This is the first postponement we've had this season where games are actually moved. The question mark then becomes where do you put them? Because April 29th is the end date of the season. There will be no games after that. They don't want to have the Stanley Cup awarded far too late again after that's happened the last couple of years, right? So they want to get back onto your usual schedule where the first week of October next season we're back playing hockey and give players a full off season. The off season they had between the last one and this one was not very long. So the games are postponed. There are 10 players currently on the list. This is so that Ottawa can get the players back and get them ready. There was the possibility that at least one guy went on to the protocol list 10 days ago. I know there's at least one. There were a couple more that went on 8 days ago. But it doesn't guarantee they're ready to come back and play. We've seen players come off of the list, and it takes them a while to get ready to come back and play. So with how many players were out for Ottawa, they just felt like it was best to shut down. I don't know if there's been any more positives or anything else that took place, or if maybe this was just the league looking at it and going, you know what, we've got to get this shunted aside. I will say this is the first time we've seen this season. By this point last season, we had entire divisions in chaos. We had games being rescheduled here or there, right, left, and center. So this is something that they knew could happen this year. The one thing to keep an eye on is the Olympics. That's the one thing. There's 3 weeks right there where if they have to reschedule games, they can. They don't want to, but if they need to, it's there. So this is why they have the drop dead date of, I believe it's January, I want to say January 7th, January 1st. I know they have that drop dead date for when they all right, we can't back out of the Olympics, but we're not there yet. So while everybody's talking about who's going to be on the team and who's not, there is that possibility. But at this point, it's just Ottawa. I've seen people talk about, well, why wasn't San Jose shut down? Because San Jose had 7 guys go on the list, and then it stopped. The list stopped being populated with new players. Ottawa, it hasn't, and there's some concern as to whether or not more players can end up on the list. I will say this, too. Pittsburgh, I would think there might be some concern because Drake Batherson played that game on Saturday. He was on the list. Then he came off so he could play. So they cleared him to play, and then he went back on the list on Sunday. So that I look at and say, all right, what happened there? And so, that's the concern. But I know there's all the debate about everything else. And I talk in my videos about what's going on, what's happening, and there's what's happening. And that's that. JT Compher will be out for a month for the Colorado Avalanche. It's not really a surprise when the Colorado Avalanche are dealing with injury problems. Well, McKinnon's out too. Sure, of course, why not? It is standard. Right now with Colorado, it seems like every year you're looking at a lot of injuries. They're usually core guys. So at least with Compher, you should be able to find somebody within the organization who can fill in. And Alex Newhook looked pretty good the last game they played. And of course, on Wednesday, they're in Vancouver. So that might be a 2 points. That might be 2 points you can just throw on the list with the way Vancouver's been playing. And at this point, there's no news out of Vancouver, but there's certainly a lot of concern. And I will say this too, that the talk about how things seem awfully quiet with Canuck fans. Apathy. So, Colorado coming in on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. Ryan Ellis got re-injured. So Ryan Ellis comes back. He gets re-injured. He is week to week with a lower body injury. The Philadelphia Flyers already saying that Lindblom will be a healthy scratch tomorrow for Philadelphia. So he is out of the lineup. I do wonder if Lindblom might be on the trade market. It's interesting too because Philadelphia has a good record. They've had a pretty good start to the season, but there are issues on that roster. And so we saw them, move Obe Kubel onto waivers. He didn't clear. Now we're seeing Lindblom as a healthy scratch. And I'm sure there are going to be some questions asked about, how the roster is going to shape up as the season goes along and when it's going to happen that we're going to start seeing some trades, not just from Philly, but in general. We haven't seen trades in the NHL. It's so weird because we're about 20% of the way through the season and there's just nothing happening yet. I'm kind of getting anxious about the trade deadline because it could be very busy if teams don't make any moves between now and then. All right. Yesterday, Department of Player Safety came out, and it was after I did my news video, because of course it was, just like the Steve Dangle podcast finished recording before the Ottawa Senators news came out. That's the risk you guys run when you're recording earlier in the day. It's just how that works. Multiple news videos right here. So yeah, the Department of Player Safety determined that Borowiecki didn't need any discipline beyond what he got in the game because they looked at all the angles of the knee-on-knee with the Ashkin. And the only thing I wonder with that is then why did they have the hearing, and didn't they look at the, like, don't you look at the play before you decide the guy needs the hearing and look at it from every angle? Like, I don't, it's one of those, it's weird. It's weird to me because, you know, the Department of Player Safety, if they want to call a guy in, fine, but to announce this, you didn't need to bring him in. You could have looked at it from every angle, and if you determine, you know what, Borowiecki was just bracing for impact, and Yashkin gets hurt, and that's terrible for Yashkin, but it wasn't Borowiecki's fault, then you don't need the actual hearing. It's weird. And no hearing for Subban. So PK Subban, of course, last night, there was the collision with Blaine, and again, because, you know, it's the Rangers, and it's Subban, the boos for Subban were loud before that in the game. They got louder after that. The next time that New Jersey plays the Rangers is March 9th. So pencil that in, because unless PK Subban were to be traded as a rental by New Jersey before that, which, I mean, is possible, right? Let's just say New Jersey falls out of the hunt, or for some reason they decide, okay, we're going to move Subban, we're going to retain half the salary, whatever they do, and Subban gets traded, then maybe he's not still there. But I'm thinking he will be, and so it'll be interesting to see how the next matchup between the Devils and the Rangers would go, with PK Subban building up so much energy in that rivalry. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Kyle Clifford is the one that's on waivers today. Clifford, of course, purely, you know, bottom six, some toughness. He can score a goal here and there, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not he clears. And again, some of these guys clear because cap space. Teams do not have cap space. I guarantee there's guys who've been on waivers the last 2 weeks that teams would jump on if they had actual cap space, and they don't. And it's about a half of the league right now that just does not have the cap space, which, yes, I will circle back. That will also cause the trade market to be a problem, because you might say, hey, so we can move this guy and they can... That's great. And you sit down on the phone and you work it out, and then you think about it. You bring in your cap guy, and your cap guy goes, no, can't do it. You guys don't have the space. And so that could absolutely be causing problems when it comes to making trades. So it's probably going to have to be dollar in, dollar out in most of these deals when they finally start taking place. So division leaders at this point in the season, I thought this would be fun to look at. I thought, I got room on the board. Sure, why not? Florida still leads their division with a record of 10-2-3. Yes, it's been a tougher go for them lately, but still, that 9-game winning streak to start the season. At this point, as long as they play well through the rest of the season, they're a playoff team. I mean, I'm not saying they lead the division if they just play well. You have to play very well to keep that division under their control, but 10-2-3 is a good record. Carolina is 11-2. What's impressive with Carolina, of course, is that your tiebreaker at the end of the year is regulation wins. 10 of their 11 wins, regulation. So for Carolina, that's an impressive number right there. They lead the league in regulation wins with 10. Minnesota 10-4 on the season. They lead the Central. It's been quite the start for Minnesota. Minnesota and Winnipeg are the two teams I look at and I think it could still be a little cleaner in some of their wins, but there you are. And for the Oilers, after that win last night, they're now 11-3 and they lead the Pacific. And they've built up a pretty healthy lead, but you always got to wonder how long is it before Vegas goes on a run, and Vegas does their best to catch up. So we'll see. But for the Oilers right now, 11-3, they are the one Canadian team out of the 4 division leaders. And for the Canadian teams, Toronto's done well, Edmonton's done well. Calgary's had a pretty good start to the season too. Darryl Sutter loves the W's. You watch his interview and just the energy just radiates. Winnipeg, good start too. And so then you've got Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver, who have all got off to disastrous starts. And for Montreal, it was understandable with the losses they went through in the offseason, plus a short offseason too. So there you go. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.